All right, so the death toll for these violent storms and tornadoes has now gone up to 35 now. Like I told you, they still finding bodies. All right, but we're going to get to it. All right, so you know how this goes. Question everything. You should. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it.
The video coming in out of Missouri is almost hard to believe. Take a look. This was Friday as a storm chaser points out a tornado in Villa Ridge, Missouri. He eventually gets in his car and leaves, but is heard screaming and pointing at that tornado. Sadly, we've learned that at least 12 people in the state died as a result of that tornado outbreak. We've also seen the
Did you see the way that thing was, how it looked faint in the background? Like almost like it wasn't even real. Like imagine how many people didn't even know, were aware of the weather, but didn't see or hear about the tornado touching down because you really couldn't see it until it was probably up on you. Like, bro, these are some scary times.
aftermath and the extensive damage left behind. This is from Poplar Bluff, Missouri. The storm also causing deaths over in Arkansas, Alabama, and Mississippi, and also spawned some dust storms that killed several people over in Texas and Kansas. I want to talk more about the situation in Missouri, so let's bring in Sergeant Eddie Young with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you, Josh, for having me.
Of course. Well, first off, I do want to ask you overall, kind of starting from the beginning, can you explain to me everything as it did play out on Friday and this tornado outbreak happened?
You know, earlier that morning and Friday, the National Weather Service did a really good job of warning us that we were in the path of a potentially very dangerous storm that's going to be stronger than normal. And started warning the public. And we took those warnings and tried to spread it out through our social media, warning everybody to not be traveling, to have your shelter plans in place. And as they had a timeline down that they were going to hit around 7, 8 o'clock for our region, and you could see them coming out of Arkansas as the storms built and they came our way. And then, unfortunately, it was about the same time nightfall hit, and so the sun went away, and you couldn't really see the storm. And but the National Weather Service and the weathermen locally did a good job of really warning people in advance of how strong these storms were and how severe they were, and they hit under the cover of dark. And it was soon after that we started getting the calls of people needing rescue and help getting out of their locations. And then unfortunately we started hearing about the fatalities.
18-wheelers just driving past like ain't nothing going on, like just a normal day. They pretty happy that it ain't too many cars on the road right now. Like, what? Y'all driving in that? How crazy.
Can you tell me about the aftermath here? Because I'm going to pull up some of this video that we've been showing from a drone that was provided by Fox Weather. It's from Poplar Bluff, and you can see just the extensive damage there. Tell me about what you've seen so far in that general area.
So that video footage is very reminiscent of what we have in our area too. Luckily, we didn't get a lot of our area is covered by wooded acreage, so there's a lot of destruction to the forest area, and you can see clear past where the tornadoes come through. But when they hit residents, it was very familiar with the video footage you're showing. Houses were just destroyed. If it wasn't a traditional stick and mortar home, if it was a modular home, they were just rolled off into fields and just blown apart. People just were hunkered down and came out to find their homes destroyed, and like cars thrown along highways, and just numerous trees. The amount of trees and power lines thrown along the roadway, blocking rescuers' paths, made it really difficult. We were fortunate that the community members and also the highway workers and utility companies brought out their heavy equipment, and everyone with a chainsaw went to work and started trying to get those avenues open so we could get the people out of their areas they may have been trapped in and get the injured to hospitals.
Now he mentioned something with those modular homes and different types of home styles. As we saw throughout the video, a lot of the homes were like trailer styles and stuff like that, man, which If you living in a trailer, bro, please do not. Please, we're begging you, please do not stay or stick around for these storms. Like, they're throwing these trailers around just like vehicles. You've seen them throw a bus. But now you got to think about these modular homes. People living in like these smaller homes. What's those little compact homes that they were building? Tiny homes? Those? Yeah. Like, a lot more people are resorting to, because of prices being what they are. But now you got to think there's another component to you saying, okay, I live in a tiny home or a modular home or a trailer or something. I cannot stay. I can't stay.
And I have to ask, how does that feel to you to be able to see so many people neighbor helping neighbor situations? Because it is such a tough time for so many people. Many have lost everything they own. And then you have people who come together because they just want to help others. What does that mean to you to see that?
Yeah, it makes you happy to be in a community where people honor the good code of getting out and helping those that are less fortunate. So, and I see a lot of that. So after those moments of destruction and just seeing everybody kind of work through it, I think it's an important process of kind of the healing process for the community as this goes on, is like to get out and lend those helping hands. And even if you can't do something major, anything little is definitely beneficial. And we're seeing a lot of that around here. Obviously, we had, I think preliminary reports are showing around 19 tornadoes affected Missouri and 25 counties. And so we're seeing a lot of those aid organizations bringing in aid to allow people, the Red Cross and such, to provide those necessities for victims. And our hearts go out for those victims. And it makes you feel real fortunate that you weren't a victim yourself. So get out there and helping those kind of helps that.
How often do you see these severe storms that are of this level? Because so many people have said, look, this is a location, Missouri, Arkansas, that sees a lot of powerful storms. But how often do you see something this powerful? You're watching as someone actually took this video while inside of a tornado.
Yeah, every spring we have really strong storms that come through. But I will say, through a cell that goes through Missouri, it might be one or two that are really strong tornadoes, maybe that EF3 approaching EF4. A lot of times it's those EF1s and EF2s that do damage, but not near to the quantity that we saw this time. So the storms themselves, not so much rare for our area. A lot of people have shelters or have locations they can go to because we plan for these tornadoes. The odds are that you probably will never be affected by one. But when you are, it's devastating. So you got to have those plans in shape. And it just seemed like this particular path spawned numerous strong tornadoes that did a lot of damage where they went through, and then stayed on the ground for the trails they left behind were a little longer than normal for this time of year.
My last question for you here. I want to see what message you have for those folks out there who see the watches, the warnings. We know yesterday in one state there was actually a tornado emergency. As those messages come out, why is it so important? What would you say to people about why they need to pay attention, whether they're in Missouri or in other states across the U.S.?
Yeah, those warnings are very important to listen to. And I think as far as humans, we have that nature to say it's not going to be me. And it helps us go out into the world and do things that, obviously sometimes like driving down the road is hazardous, but we have to go down the road and we do our best to protect ourselves. In the same way, when you're sitting at home and you hear these storms coming in, have a plan in place. And it's important to listen to it, have a plan in place. Hopefully you don't have to use it. But whenever the weatherman's calling out your town, saying it's in the direct line of these storms like they were Friday, we had 30, 40 minutes to prepare. That's plenty of time to execute that plan and move to that facility. Sometimes I think it's important to understand that we're selfish, but do it for others too. Do it for your family.
And think about it this way, right? Let's say the storm does it. It just misses you. But then it picks up a car and hurls it right at your house or a bus or 18-wheeler, and it lands right on top of your home with you inside of it. Like you this is the type of things that can happen. It don't necessarily got to hit you directly, but it could throw something over towards you. So I'm like him, man, just leave.
We want you to be safe. Go be safe. And the problem is, if you stay home and you gamble and you're wrong, we might not even be able to get there to rescue you, to help you out. And you could be stranded there for multiple hours in whatever condition that is coming your way.
And that's important to note because a lot of people don't think about the first responders who are then put in danger because they want to come rescue you, and that puts their lives in danger as well. Sergeant Eddie Young, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, I just want to commend our community and those that are out there helping us get past this process. And I'm sure we will avail and make it through this.
There's a fire.
Okay.
Oh my God! There's a fire outside.
Ma'am, what's out there?
The TV. I don't know. My son, his stepson, is in his room, and I don't know. He did something with the TV. I was sleeping.
Now, Kimberly Sullivan pleaded with a dispatcher to send an ambulance after the 32-year-old man started the fire last month. Now, police body cam video captured the moment that he was rescued, and he weighed just 68 pounds. He told investigators he set that fire deliberately in a bid to escape. He also told them he'd been imprisoned in a small storage space since he was 11 years old. Sullivan, meanwhile, is facing several charges, including second-degree kidnapping. The lawyer says she intends to plead not guilty.
There's a fire.
It don't matter what you intend to plead. Ain't nobody. I ain't buying it. I know a lot of y'all think like I do, so y'all ain't buying it. So I doubt a jury buys it. Taking one look at him, and we've yet to see him yet. You know, I tried to look when they showed that video of him going to the ambulance, but you couldn't see. They had him like covered up or something like that, but you couldn't see because I was looking. I was trying to see him, but I still couldn't see anything. But once the jury see that, case closed.
A Yemen terror group shared a sick, cryptic video after Donald Trump vowed to unleash hell on them. Houthi rebels in Yemen have shared a vile computer-generated animation illustrating American flags draped on countless coffins after President Trump vowed to rain hell down on the terror group. The vile Houthi propaganda video sparked outrage from American civilians and sparked fear it was a warning message about the terrorists ramping up violence. Hours earlier, Trump initiated the first set of airstrikes of the new administration against the rebels, reportedly killing at least 31 people on Saturday. On Sunday, the terror group claimed they attacked the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier, along with several American warships in the Red Sea. American officials said the alleged attack is unfounded, and there is no such evidence of an attack on the Truman.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. That caught me off guard. Asking the cops to formally declare the parents. Asking the cops to formally declare her dead, man. That's tough. That's a tough way. Wow. I thought we was about to get an update. You know what I mean? Because I know it was still videos of different things floating around with her. More footage they were trying to analyze and stuff like that. Just to get that news that's disheartening right there.
Newly released surveillance video shows missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Kunaki on the left with her friends at a hotel bar on March 6th, just hours before she was reported missing. To the right of the screen is 22-year-old Joshua Reeby, the last known person to see Kunaki the night she disappeared. At one point, Reeby can be seen bent over and stumbling on the lawn outside the bar. The video appears to corroborate some of what Reeby has already said, that he had been at the hotel bar with Kunaki and her friends before, quote, someone suggests they go to the beach. Reeby has since remained under police surveillance in his hotel room, his passport confiscated. He is cooperating with authorities and is not considered a suspect or accused of wrongdoing.
Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20. Oh, what's wrong? She's not waking up.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you. Hi, something is happening.
Dang. So this is that Idaho situation where we were questioning about them and them not calling or doing what they did, or how long did it take to call, and different things when they thought somebody was in the house and they were texting from the other room and stuff like that. I think this is that situation, and you're hearing the call, I'm guessing, later on that took place.
What have you done? What are you doing? You stuck? Move. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. You're just refusing to move. You've got yourself stuck and now you're refusing to move. Can we take it off? Just get out. Yeah, out the back. Good boy.
You're looking at him like, what you mean, get it off of me? I already tried that. You don't think I've tried that? Why do you think I'm sitting here still now? Because I've given up. I've tried all of that. Oh, man. Gotta love dogs.
This one batch of pills could possibly kill thousands.
Why do you sell fentanyl?
It's not that I want to do it. People ask for that, you know? That's what they're asking. That's what they want.
This is cartel country, the heart of the fentanyl trade. The drug is 50 times more potent than heroin, 100 times more powerful than morphine. Tonight, we're going to meet the men behind the trade, which is killing tens of thousands of Americans every year.
It's very deadly. If you don't know how to use it, yeah, you're going to be in big trouble.
Do you ever feel guilty about all the people that it's killing?
Yeah. But if I don't do it, anybody's going to do it.
This shipment will go through a legal border crossing in the fuel tank of this car, right under the noses of US customs officers.
This is just one car, one driver, 5,000 pills. The same thing is happening in hundreds of safe houses all across this border, ready to flood America with more fentanyl.
There is no greater demand in the United States than in Philadelphia's Kensington Avenue.
You good? You gotta pull your pants up. You got.
I showed y'all that street before, man. Kensington is a rough place to see, man. People laid out sleep, people out of their mind, just zooed out, just look like zombies everywhere down that street. Type it up, look it up, and you'll just be like, oh my God, it's gonna blow your mind when you see it, man.
You gotta get up. You at the turnstile.
The problem that we have with the war on drugs is it didn't work then. I don't believe it's going to work now.
The fentanyl, the opioid epidemic is the worst I ever seen. And this fentanyl will get you so hooked on that you have to get more. I get really emotional when I talk about some stuff. This disease is going to be the death of me if I don't get it together, because I sink deeper and deeper into a pit.
This one batch of pills.
Jeez. Goodness, man. Pray for our people, bro. Pray for our people. This is what we need to focus on. So when some of y'all getting mad about what is going on at the border and people having, issues with the fentanyl crisis, look at this. Type in Kensington, type in that and look at our people and what's happening to them. If you don't think this is a problem, type that in. Spend some time on down that TikTok rabbit hole and see what you see. I guarantee you don't walk away thinking, oh, this isn't a problem. No, you're going to walk away thinking this is a huge, huge problem. And like he said, it's coming in all kinds of ways.
This feed right here, about 40% of that total mix right there is from Canada. All of our sawdust that we use for bedding is from Canada.
This dairy farm in Vermont is some 15 miles south of the Canadian border. So have you done any math on how much the tariffs, if they were to go into effect, just how much that would end up costing you?
So for a farm our size, it would be about $20,000 a month increase.
Wow.
Yes, a lot.
And that's a lot, right?
Yep, that's a lot.
As for the proposed tariffs on the Canadian dairy that's coming into the U.S., could it be good for their bottom dollar? Maybe, but they're not sure.
It would be great to expand our markets into Canada, but at the same time, it's hard because we don't want to see the tariffs, the retaliation is the hard part. And I would say the hardest part for us as a whole industry is just the volatility of it. It's 1 week it's on, the next week it's off. You can't plan a business that way.
Stop it, guys. I need you guys to stop it. Stop right now. Stop coming to South Africa. No, I'm being serious. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with the fact that you guys are realizing that South Africa is a beautiful country and we have a lot of cheap. But the problem with you guys coming here is that everything is getting expensive. Every single second TikTok, an American is here. Someone's going to the safari. Everything's becoming expensive. Nando's cost $600 for a full chicken. This is all your fault. And stop saying everything is cheap. Things is not cheap for us. Don't bring the world to us. This is exactly why Drake was hiding his child from the world, because you guys always want to be up in our business. Talking about how beautiful Cape Town is. This is all amazing. Do you know that I can't afford to go to Cape Town because of you? Yes, I'm talking to you, Shelly. Stop saying how beautiful Cape Town is and how cheap it is, because I can't even afford to go to Camps Bay. Okay? I need to save up for that now. Thanks to you. I'm really not trying to be mean. I'm really not trying to be mean. I love you guys so much. I know a lot's going on. I know South Africa is beautiful and we've got lots of animals. But please, guys, please stop coming here. Just for now. Just tone it down. Cyril, switch off the electricity. Pick up the load shedding. Do something. Do anything. But don't come here. Stop it, guys. I need you.
Hey, I'm laughing because I knew somebody was going to make this video eventually. I even got caught up in those videos of watching people who move out of the country and show you how cheap things are. They do the comparisons of the food here, the food there, the hotel prices there, the hotel prices here. They do the living costs, all that type of stuff, and it gets you. So now a lot of people have become, passport bros and different things and going to these areas and doing different things, experiencing the culture, doing other wild things and stuff like that. Going to these areas, and eventually you had to know y'all was gonna start driving the price of stuff over there up. Oh man, I knew this was gonna happen. Bro. Oh, that was hilarious. Another plane incident. This one was the takeoff in Honduras. 7 dead. Goodness, man. Seemed like we had caught a little break. And now it just seems like it's right back. And they're dropping again. Happened to Tracy Morgan. He said he was carted off after vomiting courtside. Ugh. I'm glad they ain't show it though. Are y'all one of the ones that get squeamish when you see vomit? If you see it, you gotta vomit. I get a little squeam, but I don't throw up or anything like that though. Man, prayers to Tracy Morgan. Hope he all right, man.
This morning, the family of college student Sadiksha Kananki, who vanished while on spring break in the Dominican Republic, acknowledging they believe she died. ABC News obtaining this formal written request to the Dominican police. The family asking for a legal declaration of death. Konanki's parents also stating they trust the authorities' investigation. The letter saying the Konankis believe the last person who saw their daughter has cooperated with the investigation and that there is no evidence of foul play.
Authorities say they believe Joshua Reeby was with Konanki before she vanished. Officials have long said she likely drowned.
Reeby's attorneys demanding authorities in the Dominican Republic release the 22-year-old, who they say is being held illegally and surveilled in his hotel during the investigation. His team filing a motion urging a judge to order officials to return his passport and allow him to go back to the U.S.
Overnight, community members of Reeby's hometown in Iowa saying Josh and his family are well loved and he exemplifies compassion, respect, and integrity.
Now, here in the Dominican Republic, officials are not allowed to detain anyone without charges for more than 48 hours. Reeby's attorneys say that time is up. A judge could make a decision about his release today.
This morning, the family of
Yeah, seeing him in that previous video with him stumbling around, it's kind of looking like they both were probably drinking a lot, went out there to the ocean, to the water, to the beach area, probably got in that water, way too drunk to do so, and she could have drowned or something could have happened, bro. But yeah, man. Y'all drinking, and I don't know if that's what happens. We all at this point just speculating, but alcohol and that ocean, it don't mix. It don't mix.
She could rot in hell.
Strong words from the biological mother of the man who says he'd been held captive by his stepmother in this Waterbury home for decades.
Still just can't fathom it. How can anybody treat somebody like that?
His stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, is now facing charges including kidnapping and assault.
She needs to actually spend the rest of her life in solitary confinement. She could rot in.
While I don't agree, I do agree, excuse me. While I do agree with that statement made that she needs to spend her life, the rest of her life in solitary confinement. Where have you been since he was 11? Where did you just come from or pop up from when he needed you all this other time? 20 something years later, now you show up? Make it make sense. Tell everybody something. You were not allowed. There was a restraining order on you. You couldn't go over there. Something. Because right now I'm looking at you like, where have you been?
Here's everything you need to know about President Donald Trump's attack on, quote, auto pen pardons issued by his predecessor, Joe Biden.
It looked like we had an auto pen for a president, and we would have been better off if we had, probably. The whole subject of auto pen, did he know what he was doing? Did he authorize it? Or is this somebody in an office, maybe a radical left lunatic, just signing whatever that person wants?
On the last day of his presidency, Biden issued a string of 11th hour pardons, including preemptive pardons to former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, and Dr. Anthony Fauci. He also preemptively issued pardons for all 9 members of the January 6th committee, including the 2 leaders, Rep. Benny Thompson, a Democrat from Mississippi, and then Rep. Liz Cheney, a Wyoming Republican, who later pledged to vote for then Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Now, roughly 2 months later, President Trump is claiming that Biden's pardons were signed via AutoPen and that he is therefore voiding them. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by AutoPen, Trump posted on Truth Social. He continued in post by questioning the age-related mental abilities of his predecessor, writing, in other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. In the same post, Trump also warned that members of the former January 6 House Select Committee, for whom Biden issued pardons, would be, quote, subject to investigation at the highest level. Trump's declaration to void Biden's pardons comes after the Heritage Foundation conducted an analysis on Biden's signatures on various records and found that the January 19th pardons all carried the exact same AutoPen signature and raised the question, who is behind this AutoPen? While a small group of officials under both Biden and Trump have been delegated the power to get documents signed robotically, one source told the Post that a key aide may have made unilateral determinations on what to auto-sign for Biden. The aide would allegedly frequently make mention of what the boss wanted, the source said, but there was no way for other staffers to know if it was true. While several other former staffers described the allegations as absurd, the source said, "I feared no one as much as I feared that staffer. To me, the staffer basically was the president," the person said. "No one ever questioned the staffer, period." Presidential use of auto pens, which are defined as devices that mechanically reproduce a person's signature, is nothing new. President Lyndon Johnson used them for the first time back in the 1960s, most notably for letters to children and similar trivial matters. But their use has expanded over the years. President Barack Obama used an auto pen in 2013 to sign a major spending bill. And just last year, the U.S. Court of Appeals Fourth Circuit even held that presidential clemency warrants are not required to be in writing. Since taking office, President Trump has implemented far more restrictive rules for auto pen usage. In a January 28th memo, Trump Staff Secretary William Scharf wrote, "We do not use the auto pen for documents that exercise the powers of the presidency." When it comes to President Biden's use of auto pens, though, the real questions being raised are about what his mental capacity was when the records were signed and about whether or not he was fully aware of what was happening. Last week, Missouri's Attorney General Andrew Bailey.
A lot of people were saying he was being puppeted, but that's gotta suck for the people who was receiving a pardon, thinking you're good just to find out all of it's now null and void. Bro, what is next at this point? Like, what is next?
Demanded an investigation into President Biden's use of auto pen signatures on dozens of executive orders. "I'm demanding the DOJ investigate whether President Biden's cognitive decline allowed unelected staff to push through radical policy without his knowing approval," Bailey said. At this time, it remains unclear whether any court will take steps to avoid Biden's pardons over the auto pen claims.
Did anybody even question Biden as to where he signed off on this or not? Or no? Is he in any state of being to recall or recollect something?